Bringing the president and CEO of the Center for Reproductive Rights, Nancy Northup. Nancy, good morning. Your reaction to the 6-week ban signed by Governor DeSantis late last night?
Well, it's just part of the chaos and confusion and difficulty that we're having across the United States since Roe versus Wade was overturned. We're seeing state after state where there are these limitations. And now we're also facing, going up to the Supreme Court on access to medication abortion and the decision in the Fifth Circuit, again, pretty much turning the clock backwards and really upending, the regulatory system of approving drugs. And so it is really, really important that people are paying attention both to this medication abortion case and what's happening across the nation. And I would underscore what's been said already this morning, which is that this is not what the American people want. We saw it in Kansas and Kentucky, and we saw it in Michigan and the big win there, and last week in the Wisconsin Supreme Court case. People want access to their rights, and yet this campaign to ban abortion nationwide, we're seeing it playing out in this medication abortion case, and it's not what was said when the Dobbs case came down, which was the states were going to get to decide. In fact, this is all part of an orchestrated campaign for a nationwide ban.
Well, you're right. According to recent Pew polling, the 6-week ban is something like a 15% position in this country. So much of this is spoken about in political terms. But can you talk a little bit about what a 6-week ban in the state of Florida on abortion and a ban on this abortion pill would mean to women in this country?
Well, absolutely. We already saw this when Texas passed their 6-week ban, in that case, a vigilante law. And we just filed a lawsuit in Texas. There's now a total ban in Texas. We filed a lawsuit on behalf of 5 women who had wanted pregnancies that were in obstetric emergencies, and one of them ended up in the ICU for 3 days because they said, you've got to go into basically sepsis before we're going to give you a needed abortion. And so this is also what plays out, is that women with wanted pregnancies are finding themselves being told, no, you can't get the medical care that is standard because we have a criminal law in our state. And the doctors are weighing that against being able to put your patient care first.
Nancy, I want to ask your reaction to just the torrent of change on the issue of abortion since Dobbs went down. You brought up Kansas. I know going into the Kansas referendum, most people were expecting the pro-life side to win by 1 or 2 points. The pro-choice side won a landslide in Kansas. You brought up Kentucky, about as red of a state as it gets. We look at what happened in Michigan, a tidal wave. And so much of that tidal wave is because of the radical position that the Republican gubernatorial candidate took. And now Wisconsin, again, the most swing state, I would say, we've had in this country over the past decade. And yet an 11-point landslide, again, coming down mainly to abortion. The issue of abortion, are you finding more support from people who've traditionally been pro-life, who've traditionally been Republicans? Are you finding more support now from the contacts you're having with people? Because, again, of the inhumane, almost ghoulish positions that these women are being put in, who know their child is going to die, who risk dying themselves, and yet doctors can't help them.
Yes, I mean, we're seeing, very strong support since the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And the reality is 1 in 4 women in the United States will have an abortion in their lifetime. And that's not going to change because of all of this chaos of the laws that we're seeing now. And that means that most people know someone who has had an abortion or they have had an abortion. This is something that is a kitchen table issue that people understand. And they know people have had complications in pregnancy, right? And so with all of a sudden it being a criminal legal question, people are indeed saying whatever maybe I identified with as pro-life on the abortion issue, when it comes right down to it, do I want criminal laws, behind my doctors as they're giving care? Absolutely not.
All right, President and CEO of the Center for Reproductive Rights, Nancy Northup, thank you so much for being with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's bring